everyone, and welcome to another video. Now I'm in a slightly different location. Let me know what you think about the setting and the lighting. I know a lot of you said that the sound's really bad. I've been fiddling around with things and trying to improve it. I quite like the setup, but it's just really difficult in my house with the lighting because there's windows in the most awkward places that let natural light in, and I've got my studio lighting on and it's just a little bit weird. Not that you need to know kind of the ins and outs of it, but anyway, I just wanted to come on here with a little review because I've decided to try and do more review videos, and I thought I'm going to start off with foundation because that's a really fun thing to review. And as you will know by the title, this review is going to be of the Clarins True Radiance foundation. But how I've decided to do these types of reviews is I'm going to talk you through my first impressions, which I have written down on first application. And then I'm going to tell you kind of my full opinion about the product. So when I first used it, I made sure to kind of note down my initial opinions about it because I wanted to be able to share that with you. But I'm just going to give you a little bit of kind of background info first of all. Clarins True Radiance foundation. This retails at £27, so it's not super cheap. Obviously it's a higher end brand, but anyway. This has an SPF of 15. Clarins say that this is perfect skin foundation, evens and illuminates. Really, really gorgeous packaging. It comes with a pump, which is amazing, and the packaging I think is just really, really chic and stunning. Probably not the best for travel, but you get your kind of average 30ml of product, really gorgeous glass packaging, and it feels very luxurious. Now, when I first used it, my initial impressions were, and I'm going to show you that I've written it down here, and I wrote this on the 6th of January. Today is the 22nd, so I have been trialling it for quite a long time. My first impression, written it down here in the controversial notebook. My first impression in terms of the application, I applied it with primer, as I always do, because I always use primer. I use the Benefit Professional, and I use my hands to apply. I always use my hands to apply foundation on first use because I kind of feel like that's a nice way to get to know the texture of the product. And I set it with powder, again, because I always set all my foundations with powder. I like to kind of use them in a way that I always use my foundations, that way I can kind of judge how I feel about them. So that was how I applied it. The finish, I said it feels light, looks natural and not oily but radiant. Lasting power, felt light on the skin, needed powder mid-afternoon, slight oil showing at night, didn't go patchy. So that was kind of what I thought about it when I first used it. Then the more and more I've used it, I've come to kind of find a few different things about it. The first thing is I do think that it is the type of product that works better applied with your hands. Now today I'm wearing it on my skin, and I used the not Real Techniques, what's it called? The purple brush. If I can't remember, I'll just put an annotation here. The Sedona Lace round buffing brush. I used that to apply it, but it's the type of product that I think you do kind of need to work into the skin a little bit before it gives you the desired finish. Now in terms of the finish, as you can see on my skin today, it's not a flat looking foundation. It is a very luminous, very kind of beautifying foundation. However, I don't think it's as luminous as the name would suggest, and my skin's quite oily. When you apply it, it's not kind of instantly that kind of good skin in a bottle type of look. It makes your skin look very nice, and it's the type of foundation I feel that looks nicer once it's been on a little bit versus what it looks like when it's first applied. But it's by no means undetectable on the skin, which is something that I really, really struggle with because my skin's quite textured. I've got kind of pores in this area and it can kind of look weird on my upper lip, and foundation tends to just sort of not mesh with my skin that well. You do have to work a little bit harder with this than with certain foundations that I've tried to mesh it into the skin, but it's nothing major. It is oil free, but as I said, my skin's kind of combination, and I do feel like I need to powder it kind of midday. I get a little bit of shine here and around the kind of cheek and nose area, a little bit on my chin, and I just need to powder it, but that's not a major issue for me because I need to do that anyway. In terms of the price, as I said, £27. Not cheap, but the packaging is very nice. It comes with a pump. It has got that kind of smell of Clarins foundations. It's very difficult to describe if you haven't used Clarins foundation before, but it's a very kind of light, fruity, sort of slight cucumbery smell. Nothing offensive, but something to be wary of if you do prefer unfragranced things. I'm going to pop a little bit on the back of my hand right now just to show you what the texture's like, and then I'll talk you through the shade as well. But the texture of it, as you can see here, is kind of quite thin, light, and just very easy to blend. Not particularly heavy texture, but it's not very watery either. It's just a nice texture, and once you've kind of applied it all over, you can see it does have a nice kind of luminous sheen to it, but definitely not the most kind of uber natural when you use a brush that kind of spreads the product around too much. So I feel like with hands this does look very nice, but then you might want to go in with a brush to build a little bit more coverage, because in terms of coverage it's very much a light medium coverage. So by no means full coverage. My pigmentation, it didn't cover. I definitely need to go in with concealer over the top for that, but it kind of generally evens out most things on your skin. It doesn't neutralize redness completely, because like I said, it's got a quite a light finish. So you do need to go with concealer. It's not something if you've got major skin concerns. It's generally kind of if your skin is doing okay. Then in terms of the shade, I've got the shade 1110, which is Honey, which is a really nice shade for me at the moment. It's a nice yellowy based shade, not orange at all, which is something that I always look for in a foundation. I like them to have a nice yellowy base. So if you are similar colouring to me, the shade Honey is a very, very, very successful shade in my opinion. It's just got that perfect yellowy tone and matches my skin really nicely, and kind of gets rid of discoloration by evening out the colour as well. So that's something to bear in mind. I think in terms of the selection of the colours, there aren't tons. I will put the info for that down below, but they don't cater to particularly dark skins. So if that's something that you're wary of, that sucks a little bit, because the shade selection isn't massive. I think there are about 6 shades in this range. I might be wrong. I'm testing another Clarins foundation for you, that the review of that's going to be in a few days. And I know that they do more shades in that one, but in this one I don't think there are that many shades. My overall opinion on this is I really like it. I definitely think it's one for someone who has just generally okay skin, and you want something that's kind of very prettifying and will make your skin look glowy and pretty, and don't mind touching up with powder if you have got combination skin. I can only give you my opinion on this obviously, because I don't know how it will kind of fare on a dry skin, because my skin isn't particularly dry or particularly oily. It's kind of in between. Something to be mindful of though, if you do suffer from large pores, it can kind of sit in your pores a little bit in this area, but I find that happens with most products. Definitely would recommend it if you are on the market for a higher end foundation. If it's a little bit too expensive for you, then it's not necessarily kind of a life-changing foundation, but it's very pretty, and it's one that in the winter time I'm really enjoying using, because my skin can look very, very dull, and it just perks everything up. And you can see, I think it does look very pretty on the skin, and it photographs nicely as well and looks nice on camera, which is important to me. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know if you've tried this or if you've got any questions about it, and if you want me to do reviews of any other products. I'm definitely going to do a review of the I Heart Makeup chocolate palette, because I've noticed some very, very strange things about that palette that I want to talk to you about. So that will be one of the next reviews coming up, and then another new release from Clarins I've got coming up for you as well. So let me know if you want any individual product reviews as well, and as I said, I will link where you can buy it down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!